Welcome back. Let's talk to three ladies who will be bringing us up to speed as to what they're doing as far as International Women's Day is concerned. Komolafe is a premium brand elevator, creative strategist, brand growth strategist, as well as business coach. Tosin Akinsulure is a healthcare and growth strategist, as well as Sandra Jibola, founder, CEO of BAI Empowerment Foundation. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the program. Let's talk with you, Okoyemi. I'm curious about some of the things you do. So maybe before I come to you, because of some of the things I've highlighted here, some of the questions I'll ask you, but Sandra, let's come to you as well on some of the things you do as well. So let's begin with what you do and why it's important that the world pays attention to women.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I've always understood that women, we have a force and we have the power to do a lot of things. And if we can bring ourselves to a point where we agree in one accordance that we want this, and that's why my foundation particularly is about trying to empower women and also trying to make sure that we change the narrative that women are not capable of doing a lot of things. So the foundation generally has been able to make sure that we try to push this narrative, and we are very, very passionate about it. I personally am very, very passionate about this moving pause because I know that we women, we have a lot to deliver in the society. So if we're being given the chance, we can actually move mountains.
Amazing. Let's also, I think it's a similar question because we've spoken to a lot of women. And one of the things that you can draw as a line amongst the ladies we've spoken to, whether right here in the studio or outside, is it looks like they are always trying to make a point, trying to fight for a space. I don't know whether to call that offensive or defensive, but how does it feel having that level of pressure, and how do you cope? Tosin, that's for you.
Sorry, can you take the question again? I didn't hear you from the
I said, talking to a lot of women, we found out that it feels like most of the time, women are always trying to fight for their sport at all times. I don't know whether to call it offensive or defensive, but how does it feel being a woman and having to be in that space where you always maybe attempting to say, look, I can do this just as well as any other man can do?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I do not think, so personally, I'm going to talk from a personal point of view. I do not try to fight for something as a woman. Rather, what I focus on, and I believe that most women that are self-aware and have come to a place of honing their strength, what they try to do is to always put their best foot forward. As a woman, I agree there are certain societal limitations, stereotypes that tend to box us and not allow us, become the best version of ourselves or explore our full potential. And that most times could be a systemic problem. For instance, in the workplace, you find out that there could be some stereotypes, right, attached to the woman that would not allow her, for instance, speak up freely in a toxic work environment. It could also be self-imposed limitations. And it's been found out that many times, most women are afraid to speak up. They're afraid to also hone their strengths. So I'm going to say that for a woman that has gone on the journey of self-development, a journey of understanding her strengths, and also working on the areas of improvement, there wouldn't be any need to fight to be seen, or fight to fulfill purpose, or fight to grow through the ranks in leadership, right? I recognize the place of some systemic problems that could lead to a need for you to fight through sometimes, right? But generally, for a woman that is focused on her strength, definitely fighting for what belongs to you wouldn't be a problem. However, in a toxic environment, and that's where there is need for women to support other women. In a toxic environment, then the HR as well, or the people and culture, needs to also create an enabling environment alongside the management team to ensure that women are well represented. Globally, 28.2% of management position in the workplace is occupied by women. This is by UN Women 2023. This is far, 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 far low compared to what it should be, right? And this is where the place of management, leadership, and the place of the people and culture units comes in to ensure that every woman is well represented and there is equity in the workplace.
There you go. Let's head over to Okwemi Kolawole now, who joins us via Zoom. And I'd like you to speak to, because this is also about brand, the brand woman, or the woman brand. Okwemi, just to be clear, can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Okwemi Kolawole. So I want you to speak to the brand of women as it is right now in Nigeria, and what it ought to be. What are some of the, I'm looking at this from a brand perspective now, what are some of the things that eat away the brand of women, that ideal brand of women that we have, and perhaps the factors that are responsible for that?
Okay, you mean the challenges the women face in terms of positioning themselves, right?
Yes, but I'm coming at you from the brand perspective since you're premium brand elevator. So let's elevate the current brand of women.
Okay, good morning once again. Thanks for having me here. I'm so grateful. All right, concerning the question, there are a lot affects women in positioning themselves the way they are. The first factor is the environmental factor. I'm sorry to say a lot of concentration are more on the male gender than women in terms of helping them to discover themselves, their talent, or helping them to pronounce their talent, or positioning it in a great platform. Though there are a lot of things that are coming up, programs that are coming up that are women-friendly now, but sincerely the environment, we still need to work on that. Like where I am now in the northern region, we are still working excessively in that aspect. So another thing is the commitment in the house. I know women, when we go into marriage, I see the marriage as a work on its own. You are busy up and down, especially when you are in the stage of nursing your child or your children, taking care of the house. Sometimes our attention seems to be divided, and there's this kind of emotional stress and all that. Sometimes it does feel, okay, let me leave this before I start pursuing my career. And sometimes it's used to have some delays. So those are some of the challenges. And the last thing I will still say is, I think the information in terms of branding aspect is not well circulated for now. Because a lot of people, they think, oh, let me talk from the entrepreneurial aspect. They focus on the money, but they do not really position themselves the way they should position themselves. So that's one of the sensitization, my brand, we are up to these days, because people seems to be distracted, they are looking for money, but they are not really, I don't mean they have followed the right protocol, the right structure, the right system. It will have been more better, and people will listen to them effectively.
Let me come in quickly here. Very important point you've made. Let me bring this to Sandra right here in our Lagos studio. So we're trying to break the conversation down, and she said quite a number of things. First, the environment, and then she's also in a particular environment, their peculiarities, and also I know we can speak about our environment, but there are certain constants, right, across board. So there's a need for education, right, knowledge. There's a need for skills as well, for those who want to pursue that. There's need for mentoring. For women, so women who have gone ahead, they've seen that this is where there are potholes, so this is the route you should take. There's also the conversation around financial empowerment. So it's a mix, really, and some of those things put women at a disadvantage. Education, the skills, they say, I know you're a woman, you can't learn this skill because, you know, you're wearing skirt, and like, I can't wait, no, you're a woman, do this. So how do these things come together want to form a challenge, but more importantly is how should we retool either our communities, our mindsets to ensure that women also get these advantages that have been disadvantages to them?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, because it's really dear to me about this particular thing, because I got to understand that, you know, women are a shadow of themselves. They don't like to come out. They are shy. And in terms of the educational aspect, you know, we need to do more, because women have been, you know, stereotyped to just, you know, being at home, the cultural norms, and then we feel like everything that has to do with us is just making babies and then feeding, taking care of the family, right? But it's way beyond that. And when we are trying to push ourselves higher, learning more, and adding more mentorship to it actually helps a lot. And I can tell you from my own perspective that I have been able to grow myself by joining communities. People do not understand that being in a community where that can elevate you financially, like mentoring you, making you understand why you should be in this, why you should go for this. Like the other speaker said something about, you know, women trying to make sure that they want to make money because they just want to make money, but not understanding the importance of how that should be made. I believe that it's way beyond that. We need to understand how making money is not just, I just want to make this money, but I want to be able to be financially stable enough that generations to come will be able to benefit from what I have been able to do. And I thank God that, you know, my foundation has actually become a tool that I want to use to empower a lot of women to make sure that they get this training. You know, I believe in skill acquisition programs. I've always said this, that if there's a way we could actually add skill acquisition programs into our educational system, it's really going to find a way to empower a lot of kids at a young age, because I feel like it's something that should be included. The way we have home economists, it should be included in the curriculum. And I believe that it's something that could make every woman, every girl child know that this skill is something that you cannot just, you know, get it from anywhere. It's something that should grow from you. It's something that is inside of you. So it takes time. And, you know, I'm grateful to God that I have been able to take out time, even with the fact that I have family and a kid, you know, taking out time for yourself and saying to yourself that I need to build my mental strength. I need to build myself as a woman. You need, it's way beyond that. A woman, some women don't see themselves as that, right? Because they are shy. They can't pull out that their strength. We have a lot of strength inside of us. So if we can be able to say to ourselves that I want to make it, I want to push myself beyond my limits, I know I can achieve a lot of things with that.
Well said. Let's come to Tosin as we begin to wind down. Tosin, you're a healthcare strategist. Sometimes we find that women care for everyone else except themselves, and they get caught up in that web. And sometimes it gets a bit late, and things get very, you know, quite difficult. Talk to us about women caring for themselves, especially their health. Tosin, that's for you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So, like the popular saying goes, health is wealth. If we do not care for our health, definitely we won't be alive to take care of our families, won't be alive to take care of or to contribute to building the society, gaining career aspiration, career development, and, you know, growing in our careers, or even contributing to national development. So health is very, very important. And I will just you know, narrow it down to lifestyle management, which is usually the bedrock of any form of management when it comes to health, right? So lifestyle management basically speaks to how you live every day, and that's the foundation for having for building a solid health, or having good health, right? So lifestyle basically has to do with you ensuring that you eat well. Be mindful of what goes into your mouth, right? There is this eat well plate that would always encourage, for instance, people even with diabetes to practice. Ensure that your food is not just filled with carbohydrates. You have a portion of protein, you have a portion of vegetables, you take a lot of water, there is an oil component as well in your food, right? So be mindful of what goes into your mouth. Exercise is another key component of having good health, right? For young people, it might be difficult for you to...
All right, Tosin. Yeah, my apologies. We just wanted to allow you just to keep talking because this is quite critical, but for time, Most thank you for coming through on today's our own International Women's Day, by the way. It was on Saturday. They decided to bring you ladies and give you the entire show. Tosin Akinsulure, healthcare growth strategist. Sandra Jibola, founder, CEO of BAI Empowerment Foundation, as well as Okpeyemi Kolawole, premium brand elevator, creative strategist, brand growth strategist. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the program. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for being part of the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma.
And I'm Kayode Okikiolu. Don't forget, Sunrise Daily is next, and we're keeping our eyes on what's playing out in River State. So stay with us. This is Channels Television.
Bye-bye.